Hello everyone, thank you for joining us this morning and welcome to this educational presentation where we answer the question, are you missing those big trending moves? Now this is a very common question and something that's on a lot of traders' minds because I can't tell you how many emails I receive or I talk to traders who say, gosh Steve, I missed that big move. Had I only known that stock or future or currency pair was going to take off and go straight up or straight down. Whether it's before it even happens or whether it's actually happened and you just want to get in while it's happening. Well, let me share with you some recent examples of how you could have taken advantage of these big trending moves. For example, this even has to do with news because oftentimes a news event will come out and traders will say, well, you know, it's too late now. I can't get into this big move, but I wish I would have known prior to that news event. For example, just about a month ago, Yahoo Finance reported that Chevron was to acquire a major Houston area-based upstream energy company for $33 billion. Okay, so in all actuality, it was going to get bought out for a certain price, and this stock was APC. As you can see, this is when the news came out right here. Okay, and at this time, most traders will say, well, it's too late now. I can't buy it up here. Well, actually, had you decided to buy it when the news came out, you actually would have made a little money because it continued to go higher. But what if you had some information where you could have purchased it around these levels? Okay, well, you didn't need inside information and you didn't need to be studying the company because the strategy entry rules, which I will be sharing with you today, actually generated not one but two signals. One 3 weeks before on the 1st of April, and then if you didn't take that one, another one just a day before, okay, or a couple of days before. Actually, I should say the 10th of April was actually this day right here. So we actually have that in air. So this strategy generated buy signals 2 weeks before the news and a 30-point gain. So this is a great way to capture those big trends that you feel you may have been missing. And guess what? We're going to make it simple for you. It's not going to be something that some master formula you have to put together, something where you have to go back and add and subtract a bunch of different numbers. It's going to be one click away on our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform that teaches you how to trade. So we'll go over all of this today, show you how simple it is, and show you some current examples of this particular strategy I'm going to be sharing with you. Welcome, my name is Steven Primo, President and Founder of Specialist Trading. And Pro Trader Strategies and myself have made it really simple for you to really find these setups because these setups are happening all the time. And so you'll never have to ask yourself, you know, how do I get involved in these big trending moves, you know, without missing them all the time, okay? Now, I've been trading for roughly 4 decades now. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, so my background is in stocks, but everything we teach and trade can easily be transferred onto any market and any time frame. So it doesn't matter after today's presentation if you say, well, okay, I know the majority of the setups that you shared with us were in stocks, but I don't trade stocks. It doesn't matter. You can apply this to currency pairs or futures, even Bitcoin if you like. Wherever there is a really strong trending market or a market setting up for a big, strong trend, this strategy has a really great insight into identifying those setups, okay? So I'm going to share that with you today, but before we begin, as always, we are first required by law to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using the entry rules to this particular strategy, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future, and please remember that all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. So once again, as you're taking a moment to view our disclaimer, if you haven't done so already, we already have a lot of people following us, but if you haven't done so, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. I post a lot of great free information on a daily basis, a lot of educational information about signals our strategies have generated, as well as little bits of financial wisdom. Lots of great free education, so please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, once again, I stated earlier that my background is in stocks. I started trading roughly 42 years ago on the floor of the exchange. I was on the trading floor for a total of 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. If you're not familiar with what a specialist is, that's the person that makes the markets in the stocks you want to buy or sell. So the floor trader walks up to that big booth where you see the guys behind the booths and the big computer screens there, and he asks for a market in a particular stock. So if you want to buy or sell, let's say IBM, or let's say Tesla or Facebook, you have to go up to the trader who specializes in making a market. That's what I did for roughly 9 years. I traded and made markets in the crash of '87 and the bull market. So I've traded and made markets in just about every market environment, every volatile or quiet market you can think of. In fact, if there is a strategy or a system out there that's brand new or something you've never heard of that someone's promoting, it's probably been around before. They've just rebranded it, remarketed it, and given it a different name. I've traded it. So I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't. Now, I could have rebranded all these things and sold them for you for tens of thousands of dollars, but it's just not my style. I would rather educate you so that you can really make your own decisions. And the reason is because, in my opinion, after 40 decades of experience, that's the only way one becomes a consistent trader. It's not by blindly following somebody else and going to their website and seeing what they're buying or selling or going to their chat room. It's by making your own decisions. So this is what we have decided to do at Pro Trader Strategies and Specialist Trading. We provide you with the information, work with you along the way, but ultimately it's you who's making the decisions. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a great strategy for capturing those trends. Ultimately, it's your decision as to where you want to exit, where you want to enter, where you want to place your stop, how many contracts or shares you want to trade. But guess what? The good news is in our courses, we teach you and give you different variables for you to decide. So where one trader may say, you know what, I'm going to trade this on intraday charts and I'm going to use an aggressive entry point. Another trader may say, well, you know what, I'm going to use this strategy on weekly bars, on stocks only, and I'm going to use the conservative entry point and the conservative exit. Okay, is one better than the other? Absolutely not. The only right way to trade is the way that makes you feel comfortable. So we supply you with all these different variables, and this is what we call the specialist edge. It's the same way I was trained 42 years ago, and what I really believe is the cornerstone to having sustained my trading for over 4 decades. So this is what we're teaching you, so that hopefully you're not going to just have a good month and then give it all back for the remaining of the year, or you're not going to have a good 6 months and then give it all back in a couple of weeks. We want to sustain you so that you can be trading 20, 30, 40 years down the road. That is the true meaning of success, longevity, okay? So my goal is not to force feed you signals, not to tell you the perfect market or time frame. My goal is to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. Now, since today is going to be an educational class, I want to take all your questions, but as always, if you're new to my presentations, I like to take the questions at the end. I don't want to stop at every slide. That way you'll be here far too long. If we wait till the end, this won't be very long, probably in the next 30 minutes or so, then I promise I'll answer every question that you may have, okay? So please, wait till the end of class to ask questions. The only one I will answer is this being recorded? Yes, it is. We record all of our presentations, so if you have to leave early or if you're having technical issues, don't worry. We will provide each and every one of you with a link to this recording, all right? Okay, so with that said, let's begin today's class, and we're going to be talking about the entry rules to a great strategy for capturing these trends. Oftentimes, prior to the trend even starts, you'll see some examples, but as well, when the trend has already begun. And this is going to be strategy 3A, all right? Let's talk about the highlights of this particular strategy. It's a continuation strategy, all right? So what exactly is a continuation strategy? Well, oftentimes this means that the trend is already in play. We're not going to try and pick the bottom. We're not going to try and, find out where the highest high is before we sell. We're going to wait for the trend to be in play, and then we'll jump on board. Now, once again, as I said, many times you'll see the stock already taken off or the future already taken off or the currency pair already selling off strongly to the downside. But as well, oftentimes you'll see that it looks as if there's no action. But this strategy is picking up that trend has already begun. Now, it does this by using a unique Bollinger Band setting. I'm going to share that with you. Usually we reserve that for the members of this particular course, but I'm going to share with you what that Bollinger Band setting is. Now, this is designed to trade these quick, powerful trends. It doesn't matter if you're looking at a $20 stock or a $200 stock, okay? This can be applied, as I said earlier, to any market, any time frame, or any direction. Even though we're going to have the majority of the slides here on stocks, You can trade it with currency pairs, with futures, Bitcoin, commodities. It makes absolutely no difference, okay? It makes no difference what time frame either. But with all of our strategies, remember, you're going to get the entry rules, not all the exits or stop placement, but you're going to get the entry rules, which is the most important for this strategy today. Please, paper trade. Every time someone becomes a student of mine, in fact, I was answering this question just yesterday with one of my students who was trading a particular strategy. He said, Steve, I don't know about this. None of the trades are working. Every trade I've gotten into is a loss. And I asked him to send me some of examples, and every one of his examples was because he was applying the rules incorrectly. He hadn't taken the time to paper trade and study the process. He just jumped in, started trading with real capital. This is what I would say the majority of all students do. They jump in too quickly, they want to make that money, they're all excited, and then they lose right off the bat. When they send me the examples, it's because you're applying the rules incorrectly. The only way to learn any of our strategies, any of our methods, is to paper trade. I continue to paper trade. In fact, I'm paper trading an idea, a technique right now. Been paper trading for about 3 months. So, if I can do it after trading 4 decades, you can do it maybe after trading a couple of years. It makes no difference. Every endeavor, every career, every hobby, someone has to practice or rehearse first. Whether you're an actor or an actress, an entertainer, or whether you're an athlete, everyone goes through that rehearsal or that practice first. It's no different with trading. So please, even though your eyes may light up when I give you the entry rules today, paper trade for as long as you feel comfortable and to enter with real capital, okay? Now, our edge here is consistency. There will be some losing trades every once in a while. That's okay. But you want a method that's able to recoup those losses, and that's what all of our methods do. They're extremely consistent. 2 step forward, 1 step back. The 1 step back means that you will have losses. That's okay. You want to have a strategy or method that's able to recoup those losses. All right, so here is the Bollinger Band settings. Now, first of all, let's start out with standard Bollinger Band settings. I know most people don't look at what the settings are. They just, on their platform, click on Bollinger Bands, okay? But if you click it on in the edit box or want to know the rules without going too deep into how they're constructed, because I don't even personally know the actual formula, but the settings are this. The Bollinger Bands, if you haven't looked at them before or applied them, they're 3 lines or 3 bands. You have upper, a middle, and a lower. Now the middle is just simply a moving average. It's a 20-period moving average. That's all it is, a simple period moving average. Now the upper and lower band deviation are usually set to 2. The upper band will be +2, the lower will be -2. This, just without going too much into detail, just is really concerning the distance that these bands, the upper and lower, will be from the middle moving average, okay? It doesn't mean 2 points. It just means, according to the formula, a setting of 2, either 2 above or 2 below. These are the standard settings for Bollinger Bands. Now, if we apply this to a chart, we look at this older chart of Facebook, this is the way it would look. And you have the upper band right here in blue, you have the moving average, which is just a 20-period moving average, and you have the lower band. Now, the way conventional wisdom tells you to apply Bollinger Bands is to look for this type of constriction within the bands. In other words, when you see the top band going lower and the bottom band coming higher, you have this kind of constriction, and it's almost like it's a coil getting ready to release or explode. And this usually is accompanied by some high volatility after that, as you see. Now, that's a conventional way of using that. We're going to use Bollinger Bands a little bit differently. That's why we need a different setting. Okay, so I'm going to give you the proprietary setting for this strategy. Now, don't worry if you don't copy this down right away. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because, remember, once again, this is being recorded, and you'll be able to go back and view this on the recording and get the settings if you want. But here's what the settings are. We're going to keep the middle band, which is simply a 20-period simple moving average, at 20. We're not going to change that. The only thing we are changing are the upper and lower band deviations, or the distance they are from that middle average. We're going to go down to fractions. Instead of the standard setting at 2, we're going to go down to 0.382. So the upper band is going to be 0.382 deviations away from the moving average on the top of it. The lower band is going to be below at a setting of -0.382. Now, this is very simple to change. On some platforms, they only require you to put in the deviation and it automatically adjusts it for both. If you're having trouble with this with your platform, just contact the platform's tech support. They should be able to tell you how to adjust this, okay? So it's very simple on whatever platform you have. Just adjust the settings to the fraction down to 0.382. Okay, you're going to leave the moving average the same. Now this is what it should look like. Here's the standard setting. Okay, now let's change to the proprietary setting. You see how it's much smoother? You kind of have this kind of flowing, looks like a river or some type of flow to it. That's what you want. You want this on the proprietary setting. Okay, so let's look at the entry rules now. We're going to give you the basic entry rules. And remember, in the course, there are different ways to use this. We can apply a 50-period moving average to give you a broader sense of the overall trend. I'm just going to give you the basic entry rules, okay? And there's lots of different ways to trade this, so don't think if you become a member of this course that you say, well, Steve, wait a minute, this is different from the way you have in your course, because we're sharing with you a very basic entry pattern, which is just as valid. In fact, you'll actually get more signals with this basic entry rules here, which I'm going to share with you. All right, step one. Obviously, you want to plot the proprietary Bollinger Band setting on your chart. Once again, if you are comfortable with your platform, you can change it and hopefully try to save it. You won't have to change it every time. But let me show you how simple it is on our platform. Once you plot up a stock here, we're going to look at an older chart at Amazon. You see it's taken off. And most people would say, well, I'm not going to do anything now. This thing has gotten up straight up for the last week or so. Now's the time probably it's going to pull back or sell off. All the indicators are overbought. The chat room I go to says it actually should be shorted. It's too high. It's hitting this major resistance that all the institutions are selling. All right, once again, we don't follow any of these things. Let's just listen to what the stock's telling us. The first thing we want to do is apply the Bollinger Band setting. So what you would do is click on Strategy 3A on our platform. We make it so simple on our platform because it's already pre-canned. It's already pre-formatted. You're going to get a drop-down menu. You just click on Indicator. And automatically, the presettings for the proprietary Bollinger Band are already set. And you just see it in an instant. It's right there. Okay? So you have the Bollinger Bands the way they should be. All right? Now we go to step number 2. We want to see 5 consecutive price bars close. They don't have to trade above for a long time period, but they have to close above or on the highest Bollinger Band. Remember, these are entry rules for going long. You just reverse them to go short. So you want to see 5 consecutive bars, regardless of if you're looking at a 1-minute time frame or a monthly time frame. It makes no difference. They either have to close on or above, but they must be 5 consecutive bars. So if we go back and look at the chart here, let's see, well, we have some here, but now we're starting to close below, and then we go below. But now, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 consecutive bars, okay? All right, that's the setup. Now we want to enter to buy when price trades 1 tick above bar number 5, okay? This is the basic standard entry rule. So we want to buy, but it must trade above this bar. Now, what we teach in the course, it's up to you if you want to apply this, but what we teach in the course, one of the conservative ways is that if you wait for price to trade above here, but it never does, and it goes lower and closes below this top Bollinger Band, well, then all bets are off. This is a conservative way to trade it. Then you would say, you know, the countdown must start all over again. Now, if you don't care about that, you want to trade aggressively, you can say, Steve, listen, I don't care if it comes down all the way down here and comes below, but I'm going to buy it up above here. It's entirely up to you. So this is what we mean by you making your own decisions. This is the only way you can become a consistent trader, but this is why you must paper trade. Paper trade and find a way that makes you feel comfortable. Either way, the basic format is you want to buy above bar number 5, okay? So guess what? We didn't have to wait very long because on the very next bar, it traded there. Now, once again, where most traders would be saying, I can't buy up here, Steve. In fact, when I was, true story, when I was first trading on the floor, I had a very difficult time with this strategy because I said, it's very difficult for me to buy when something is up so high or sell when something is going much lower. But with this strategy, it gives you the confidence to do that. Whereas you see we're 5 bars above, we entered right here, and look what happened, okay? Now, obviously, there's some pits and starts and stops and stuff along the way, but we teach you in the course where to place your stop and where to exit. Right now, all we're talking about is the entry point, okay? Now, if you're going short, you would just reverse this process, and I'll show you some examples in just a few minutes. Let's look at some recent 3A examples, and they're basically going to be stocks, but we'll show you some older examples of futures and currency pairs later on. All right, here's SE. All right, now it appears to be in some type of an uptrend, but it really hasn't taken off yet. Nothing is really happening. What if I could tell you that a buy setup was generated right around here? Well, let's go through the process. Click on Strategy 3A, drop-down menu appears, click on Indicator, which is our proprietary Bollinger Band setting, already formatted. There's nothing you have to change. And you see, oh, okay, well, this gives us a different outlook now. Now, we don't have a number of bars above or below until we get to here. So we do our countdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive bars, okay, that are closing above. So that's our setup. This means we can buy one tick above. So this is the beauty of the platform. This is how you can check your work. So now the platform already knows where these setups are. The formula is inside Strategy 3A, but we want to check our work because ultimately we're an educational company. We want to teach you how to spot this on your own. These up and down arrows are strictly for educational purposes only. So as you're learning the process here, you simply click on 3A again, click on signal arrows, and guess what? You're right. There's an arrow right here. So you've properly identified a setup. So you can go long one tick above. Okay, now look what happened when you went long. It went straight down. This is where most students say, this stuff doesn't work. This stuff doesn't work at all. I don't know why you got me involved in this. I'm just kind of holding on to this position. It's just been going sideways for the last week or two. Well, if you properly learn the rules and learn where to place your stop and learn how to track it, hold on because nothing has been violated yet, you would have had a very nice run had you held on long enough, okay? Same thing works to the downside. Someone looking at SSL would say, Steve, I can't sell this. It's been going down for 2-3 weeks. Why would I want to short this or get, maybe you're in a long position. Why would I want to get out? This is where I want to hold on or maybe buy some shares because it's going to bounce. You know, all of the institutions are buying right here. And that $10,000 course I took says this is some major, major support. Everything is validating this, okay? Once again, every decision I've made is based off of what someone or something else is doing. Why don't we listen to what the market's telling us? And the way we can do that is by applying that proprietary Bollinger Band setting. Because right here, it's actually telling us that this is a good place to get short because it looks like we're going to have a strong trend to the downside. It's going to be even stronger. So we click on Strategy 3A, click on the indicator, and we are below the Bollinger Band setting. In fact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below, okay? So let's check our work. If this is a valid setup, click on 3A again, click on signal arrows, and yes, we were right. There's a red arrow there. So we can go short one tick below. Now listen, remember, this is the standard version. You know, if you're trading the conservative version, if price went back up and then closed above here, then you would say, well, this setup is negated. I'm going to have to wait for another countdown. But as we can see, it never did. You would have gotten short a couple of days later, and look what happened. What happened to the big support? What happened to all the institutions? This is why we say there's no consistency in those things. There's more consistency if you learn how to listen to the market. Let's look at MAN, okay? Well, this stock, once again, looks like it's been, you know, kind of trending higher, but slow and steady. But we want to check if there's more room to the upside. Click on 3A, click on indicator, and we can see that we have a number of bars above. So let's do the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like we closed right above it, so that's still valid above it. So this is our count. So we want to buy one tick above right here. But look what happened. If we're trading the conservative version, look what happened. We never bought above there because it never traded. And now 2 bars later, it closes below. So if you're trading conservatively, you would say, well, this setup is negated. I'm going to wait for another count. If you're trading aggressively, you would say, nope, I'm keeping this buy area here set, and you may have gone long right here. Let's say we're trading conservatively, and so we negate this setup. We wait for another one. Well, here's another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? We check our work, and the signal arrows say, yes, there's a buy right there. So we can go long right here. Even though we would have been long prior, that's okay. Remember, there is no one right or wrong way to trade. This is not a system. Remember, systems tell you to trade the same way each and every time. You can't deviate. You can't alter. But that's silly. It's one thing I've learned is that you have to become a part of the process. If any of you are football fans, think of a quarterback. Whenever he comes up to the line of scrimmage, even after they called a play, everyone knows the rules, what they're supposed to do. But what if the defense has changed? What if they've shifted in a different direction where the play is going to take place? Well, the quarterback yells out what's called an audible. That means there's a change, a slight deviation in the plan. Why? Because the conditions have changed, because the environment has changed. It's no different with trading. You can't in any way expect to trade the exact same way because the market environment changes. It shifts. It's always moving like a river. So you have to shift with it. If you're shifting with it, there's no way you can trade a system. You have to alter the plans to shift with the market. So someone can shift here and say, you know what, I'm going to use the conservative version because maybe they're a conservative trader. They want to trade with the environment. So we're going to use the conservative. We start the countdown over again. We're going to buy right here, and that would have been a good decision because the next day it went up tremendously. Now, how did we know that? How did we know that it was going to take off? We had no idea. We just knew that the market was telling us it wanted to go higher. So regardless if you use the aggressive or the conservative, you still would have had a nice profit catching that big trending move. Now remember, you don't have to play that victim anymore saying, I always miss these. Why don't I ever get involved in these? Every time I get involved, it just goes the opposite way or doesn't move. Well, with this strategy, it's not guaranteed, but oftentimes it can tell you in advance when this big move is going to happen. Look at PSTG. This was just the last couple of weeks ago. Now this absolutely looks like it's going nowhere, just going sideways. But we apply the Bollinger Band setting. You see how simple this is, and we see, well, okay, what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3. No, it closed above, so nothing happened. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below. So if we go back and we look, let me just backtrack here. Here's where we had 5 closes below. But if before we added the Bollinger Bands, it looks like we're going sideways, right? So why would you get involved in this using traditional or conventional wisdom? They would tell you that this is support. This is most likely support, some Fibonacci or Elliott wave. It's going to go higher. But when you learn to listen to the market and apply the correct tools, you'll see that the market's actually telling you it wants to go lower. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below. So as you can see, the market's telling you there is a high probability chance we're going much lower. This is not support. The institutions are most likely going to be wrong. There's no consistency in them. I was trading with the institutions 40 years ago, and I would never rely on what they're telling me. I traded Fibonacci support, Elliott wave, and there's no consistency. Those things are too subjective. Why not just listen to what the market telling me? And right now it's telling me that it most likely wants to go lower. So we check our work. Signal arrows, and yes, there's a valid setup right there, a valid signal. So we're going to go short. If we're using the conservative, we don't want it to close back up above. But it didn't. We went short, and look at that. How did we know this was going to fall out of bed? We didn't. We don't ever know how low or how high something will go. Our job is not to figure that out. Our job is only to jump on board with what direction the market is telling us it wants to go. And then we can decide when we want to get out. We can decide where to place our stop. So don't focus so much on the exit, how high something is supposed to go, how low something is supposed to go. Nobody knows that. Just get in sync with the market, and the rest will take care of itself. How about when the trend changes? Right here we have a very strong uptrend, and then we have a very strong downtrend. People will say, well, Steve, this probably doesn't work when it shifts like this, right? Well, nothing is guaranteed, but let's apply the tools for this uptrend, first of all, and then we can apply the tools for the downtrend. All right, there's the Bollinger Band. Now, when we're above, all we want to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's our buy signal right there. And look, you could have taken advantage of this big run-up. Once again, you have no idea how high it's going to go or when it's going to stop, but we share with you different ways on how to exit, different ways on how to track the trade, so letting the market take you out. Now, once things changed here, you don't have to say, well, that was great. Okay, I guess I'm out, so I'll look for another buy. I mean, you can if you want to, but there was still another setup here. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below. So what's the market telling us? It's telling us it wants to go lower. There's a sell signal. You could have gotten short, and look what happened. Did we know that this was going to fall out of bed? No. All we know is that the market told us it wants to go lower. There's no reason, if you don't have to listen to fundamental news or earnings or institutions or volume. I mean, my mentors, I remember once said to me, they said, Steve, it's amazing how many things there are that aren't. And at first I couldn't understand what that meant, but now I do after all these years. And basically they're talking about consistency and conventional wisdom. It's amazing how many things we believe in that we've been taught, we've been sold a bill of goods telling us that this is supposed to work, and it doesn't. There's no consistency at all in those things. I have found it's the simple things that have the highest consistency, not the convoluted logic and tons of indicators, but the simple things that really work. Tesla, all right, we all know that Tesla's been going down. Someone would say, well, Steve, I can't short this now or buy puts. I mean, there's no way. It's been really falling out of bed, and, I should be looking for a bottom here, right? Well, remember, our credo, our philosophy is simply to go and do what the market wants to do. If the market wants to go lower, we have a seller's bias. If it wants to go higher, we have a buyer's bias. Well, obviously the market wants to go lower, so how could we have taken advantage of this current downtrend in the last couple of weeks? Well, we apply the Bollinger Bands. And what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes right here. This was on May 13th. You could have gotten short on the 17th, just last week. Tesla still continued to drop 25 points in 1 week coming into this week, okay? How about APC? I believe this was the chart we originally showed you before. Remember the news came out and there was a buyout. This is where students always tell me, Steve, gosh, I always miss these. How come I can't be involved in this? Well, remember, there's nothing is guaranteed, but let me show you how you could have taken advantage of this. Click on 3A. Let's go through the process. Click on indicator. And before that news came out, what did we have here? We were oscillating above and below. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, but now we close below, so there's nothing here. We have 1, 2, now we close above. Nothing much happening. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth bar closes below, so nothing until right here. We just barely closed above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 10th, we had 5 closes above. 2 days before that news came out, okay? Did we have any idea APC was going to get bought out or there was going to be a buyout claim for it? No, we don't follow that. You can if you want to, but it's why? The market's telling us already it wants to go higher. I mean, we don't care what the reason is. It could be some good news. It could be a bunch of buyers. We don't really care. It's not our concern. I can give this metaphor. If you're walking down the street and it starts to rain, it's really not your concern at that moment while you're getting drenched with water why it's raining. You're not going to ask yourself, oh, no, let me figure out why exactly is it raining right now? What caused it to rain? No, you're going to react because you're getting covered in water and you want to react. So that's the same with trading. We don't really care why it went up. There's no reason to really, I mean, who cares? I don't care. I have a profit. That's all I'm interested in. Now, if you're an investor, if you're holding on to a position of stock for 20, 30 years, sure, you want to know about the company and what it's doing and the direction it's going. But we're just trading here for weeks. We're swing trading, okay? So all I wanted to know is that, well, okay, I can either buy the calls right here because we traded above it on the next day, just about 20 or 30 ticks. It's hard to see on this chart, but it traded above it on the 11th. So that was your entry point. You had 5 above, but it closed below, so that didn't work. And if you wanted to trade aggressively, you could have kept that up there and been long actually on the 5th of April, which was a good, 2 weeks before or a week before. But if you traded conservatively, well, you could have gotten long the day before, right here, just traded above. You would have been long on the 11th. Look what happened on the 12th, and you could have even still held out for 30 points because it went higher. It's up to you. It's your decision. Most likely, if I were in this trade, I would have exited on this day on the day the news came out. But remember, I'm not in charge of telling you how to trade. You are. I'm just pinpointing and teaching you some things that have stood the test of time in terms of consistency. Another example here where the trend is going up and then goes down. Okay, we apply the Bollinger Band setting. Now we have 5 closes above. There's our buy right there for 10 quick points. Then once the trend changes, we have 5 closes below, and there's our sell right here for 15 quick points. You see, it's simple. You just go along with what the market wants to do. If you're swimming in a river, you don't jump in the river in a raft and try and row or swim upstream. You can do it if you want to, but why? It's going to be hard, and you're going to be out of breath, and you're going to be exhausted, and you're probably not going to get to where you want to go. But with this technique, you're going in sync with the river. You have the current at your back. That's the beauty of trading with the trend. Now, here's some other charts in different markets, in the futures and the forex markets, just to show you the same technique works. A different time frame, different market. Hourly chart, the E-mini, 5 closes above. Someone here would say, I can't buy at this level, Steve. Look at, we've taken off. It's probably going to come back down here. Well, then don't do it. This is not a system that requires you to follow the same a generated signal every time. You can decide for yourself. Remember, you are in charge. But if you decided to take this trade, well, you would have entered the very next bar and taken advantage of over 12 points in the next day or so. That's $600 per contract. Now, that's an hourly bar. If you look at a 10-minute time frame, you have the same concept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes below. That's your sell signal. You enter on the next 10-minute bar and 17 points. Over $800, close to $900 per contract if you decided to stay in this long. Remember, you're in charge. We give you different exit points. You could have gotten out with a point. You could have gotten out with 5 points, 10 points. It's entirely up to you. And lastly, currency pairs. Canadian dollar, we have 5 closes below. Here's our sell signal. You can enter 1 pip below, and you enter it on the next daily bar. Over 640 pips in the next month, okay? That's roughly over $6,000 roughly per contract, per unit in the currency pairs. So let's recap before we go to question and answer, and I tell you about a great offer we have for all of you on this Saturday morning. Remember, it's a continuation strategy. Sometimes you will get setups prior to any move taking place, as you just saw, but oftentimes the move is already in play. And this is where students have big trouble. This is myself included when I was trading. I had a difficult time buying while something had already gone up quite a bit of distance, or selling when something had already gone down. The beauty of strategy 3A is it's saying that there's most likely more room in this to go. Now, it does this by using the unique Bollinger Band setting. Remember, if you have, let's say, Metastock or TradeStation, just go into your edit box when you punch up the Bollinger Bands, leave the moving average the same at 20, and edit it to 0.382 for the deviation, okay? 0.382. Remember, you don't have to worry if you can't write that down right now, if you don't have a pencil. Each and every one of you excuse me, we'll get a link to this recording, and you can watch it several times to copy down the rules. It's designed to trade these quick, powerful trends, as I just shared with you, and you can apply it to any market, any time frame, and any direction. But please, don't just start trading this Monday morning and say, oh, this is going to work tremendously. I want to make a ton of money. Paper trade it first. You'll most likely, in fact, I can almost guarantee you, if you just jump in too quickly, you'll most likely lose money, because you're going to implement it incorrectly. You'll have the wrong settings. You'll be having the wrong countdown. You just won't really know how to use it. So please, paper trade it first. Our edge is consistency. Consistency means where there's awareness that you will have losses. That's okay. You always want a method that's able to recoup those losses. That's what consistency means. We're not trying to hit home runs. Even though you may hit a home run every once in a while, that's great. But that's not our goal. Our goal is not to have you hit a home run and make thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, and then guess what? Next month you gave it all back. How many times has that happened to you, right? I mean, that used to happen to me all the time as a trader, until I finally learned that what I didn't want was not a method that went for the jackpot every time. What I really want were methods that were consistent, because consistency will allow you to trade 30, 40, 50 years if you want. Those fly-by-night systems and methods will maybe give you a winner every once in a while, just like the slot machines, but then you'll eventually give it all back. That's not consistency, and that's not success. Success equals longevity in the trading the markets, okay? So ask yourself, do you think this strategy could have helped your trading this past year? Remember, we gave you only the entry rules. But even with the entry rules we just shared with you, do you think it could have helped you? You could have added this to your trading plan, or maybe just could have been your sole strategy that you use. Well, we have a great offer for all the people taking time out of their Saturday morning. We're going to offer you 30-day trial, to our PTS Primo charting platform. That's where you saw all the displays with the signals generated today for only $7. And we're going to include Strategy 3A, all of the rules. So you're going to be getting, obviously, Strategy 3A with all the entry, exit, stop placement rules. You're also going to be getting our enhanced buy-sell line. This is our overall tool, which tells you the overall market. If you're a more conservative trader, you can use this with Strategy 3A or use it the more aggressive technique, which I share with you today. You're also going to get some short-term trend identifiers based on pattern recognition. Everything is right there for you as well on the platform. You're going to get a strategy signal scanner. So let's say you work during the day and want to come home and see what the next day's setups are. Well, let me show you how simple it is with our scanner. I have a pet peeve with scanners. I don't like to spend a lot of time figuring out. I just want to click something and see what the setups are. Well, we made it simple for you. Here's how simple it is. Click on Strategy 3A in that green strategy tab I shared with you. And where before you were clicking on arrows and indicator, now all you do is click on Scan, and this page will appear. Strategy 3A. Okay, it's already formatted. All you have to do is load the symbols you want to choose to view. You can be a currency pair trader, a stock trader, Bitcoin trader, futures. We provide you with all the different spreadsheets for all the data, all the symbols. And so let's say you pick this. I believe this is the NASDAQ. It instantly appears, whatever one you pick, and then click on Scan. And in about 30 seconds, you'll see a series of red or green bars. The red bars means there's a sell signal in that corresponding stock. The green ones mean there's a buy signal. Now, let's say you were a member of the Strategy 3A course, or we had given this presentation a month or two ago, and you're using this on the trial and saying, okay, let me see how this works here. Okay, I got a buy signal. And the buy signal was in ROKU. This was in the beginning of May, just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You're saying, okay, well, I go to Strategy 3A, I plot the indicator, and yeah, it's above. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got the green arrow. So that means I'll buy one tick above right here. So the very next day, on the 3rd of May, once again, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, you could have gone long, ROKU. Now, how you want to go long is up to you. You could have purchased a stock. You could have bought some calls. You could have purchased some type of spread strategy with options, with a buyer's bias. It's up to you. Remember, we're not telling you how to trade this. You can decide. We're just pinpointing a spot where the market's telling you it wants to go higher. So this was on May 3rd, okay, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the stock has gained 30 points in 3 weeks. You could have scanned for that. It would have come up, and then you could have, knowing the rules, and knowing where to enter, where to place your stops, all the different variables for it, where to exit, you could have taken advantage and potentially captured 30 points. Now, this is not something that happened 2 years ago, the way some other presenters show on their presentations. This just happened a couple of weeks ago, all right? We obviously some news or something has caused this stock to go up. I don't care. I mean, who cares? You can, worry about that if you want, but all I know is that the market told me it wants to go higher, so I really don't care what the feeling or what the purpose is of it, why it went higher. Once again, I don't care why it's raining if it's pouring outside. I just want to react to it. So that's our style of trading. We just want to do whatever the market wants to do. So you're going to get the signal scanner where you can scan for nightly setups. You're also going to get over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators if you like to tinker under the hood and experiment. But remember, we're not telling you how to trade. We're just pinpointing things that have shown high levels of consistency in the last 4 decades. Now, we're not a fundamental trader. We're more technically biased. But if you must rely on fundamental news, well, who are we to tell you not to use that? So we're going to give you free Bloomberg TV. If you want to know what live announcements are happening, well, you just click on the media page icon and you'll automatically get a screen that has live TV. Any announcement, any earnings report, any fundamental economic report that you're interested in, you'll be able to hear it live while it's happening, okay, on your screen. And then lastly, this comes with personalized tech support. Anytime you have an issue, pulling up a chart, maybe seeing something or understanding how something works, our tech support will be there in a matter of moments just to resolve any problem you may have. So this is all yours. Roughly 4 decades of information, things I've accumulated, all in one simple, easy to use platform. Everything has one-click access. It's right there for you, okay? This is the trading educational platform you've been searching for. You can use it, toggle back and forth. I know some of the people say, well, Steve, I like my Thinkorswim or I like TradeStation. That's fine. you can have this on, on your screen, just toggle back and forth in between the different pages to see where the setups are and then go back and look at your other platform. That's what a lot of students do. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Remember, this is a 30-day trial, over 40 years of experience in a platform for 30 days for only $7. You can't afford not to take advantage of this great offer. Then you can decide for yourself after 30 days if it's your cup of tea or not. But for $7, I think you can risk that little amount of money to see most of our students decide to stay on with us and use even more of the capabilities in the platform. So here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. We have trading consultants manning the phones right now. If you have any questions or if you want to sign up over the phone, you can just call directly at 310-598-6677. They will be happy to take your order over the phone. If you'd like to do it yourself online, you can go to the link below right here. Now, I don't believe that's a live link, so you'd have to copy and paste that onto your browser. But if you look in the chat box, in the GoToWebinar column on the right-hand side, you'll see in the chat section, there is a live link that has been posted. You can click that on. Now, my suggestion, if you have any questions, not concerning the trading, but just concerning price, or if you want to purchase a strategy, another strategy, is to contact Pro Trader Strategies. Call them directly. Once again, there are trading consultants manning the phones. They would be more than happy, under no obligation for you to purchase anything, to answer any question about discounts, platform strategies, any other techniques and things that we have. Now, if you'd like to ask me a question concerning what I just taught you today, please feel free. Just type in, go to the question and answer box in the far right-hand column in the GoToWebinar column. Type in whatever question you have, and I'll be happy to answer it right now. First question, probably the most common one is, Steve, can you use this on intraday? Yes, you can. In fact, this is where I mainly use it because let's say, so many times you'll see in the summertime, let's say August, the market pretty much dries up. Everyone's on vacation. No one wants to do anything. They're going to just wait out the summer. But if you go to an intraday time frame, maybe a 5-minute chart or maybe a tick chart, you'll see these inter-day swings where they're just proportional. There's some nice movement there. Well, you can apply this for intraday trading. This is what I do. I use it on a 5-10-minute chart. Sometimes I use it on a tick bar chart, and just use it proportionally. So it's entirely up to you. You can apply it to intraday trading for stocks, for futures. It makes no difference, okay? Is your software available for Windows only? Yes, it is, but we have different options for Apple users as well. I'm not the one to be talking to. Remember, there's absolutely no obligation. You can contact Pro Trader Strategies either by emailing them. Probably the best thing would be to call them, and they can answer your question directly. But yes, we have most of our users are Windows users and PCs, but for those of you who use Apple or anything else, we do have customers who also have options to use our software using that. So they can explain that probably better than I can. But not to worry, Michael. Yes, they will be able to accommodate you. It's a good question. I would venture to say that 80% of our users are PC or Windows users, and then we have about 20% that use Apple or other. But don't worry, we made concessions for those users as well. Okay. JL's asking, are the data feeds live on all asset classes? No, they're not. I mean, we have live version. It's up to you. I believe that's a little bit more expensive. What you're beginning, I believe, is delayed. But once again, contact Pro Trader Strategies. If you just want the live, they can work with you and they can give you a special deal or set you up with something for actually the premier live data. It's up to you. Now, for $7, I believe you're getting a small 5 or 10 minute delay, but most of our users use this for daily bars anyway, and they're using it at the end of the night and finding out what wants to, what the setups are and what they want to do for the next day. But we do have live data as well. Okay. Let's see. Traders are saying any setups for this on Monday. Well, once again, for $7 you can find out yourself. You can, for $7. If you're going out to get a cup of coffee for a couple of people, you'll probably spend more than that today. You'll have this capability and your ability to see the setups for the next day at your fingertips. So why not just, risk $7? I always say this to students when we give this $7 offer, that you probably spent more than that yesterday in commission costs alone. So why not spend it for the entire month? question, what's the price after the month? Well, if you decide to stay on board, which most of the students, I would say about 90% of the people who take this offer do, the price for the basic version is $97, okay? Now, that's still very inexpensive. I have traded with platforms before that are $200, $300, even close to $500 a month. This is still very inexpensive, and remember, you are getting 40 years of experience and things that I've accumulated with easy access, one-click access away. So why not take advantage of this? But try it out. We want to share with you in good faith that we're not trying to sell you some product and say, well, the only way you can find out is by spending $5,000 to see what it is. We don't believe in that. We want you to get acquainted with us and see our amount of sincerity that we really want to teach you. So for $7, I really do not think you can go wrong, okay? Asking if you can log on to multiple computers. Yes, you can. I don't know the amount, but I know you can log on to multiple computers, yes. Once again, these are more tech support questions for pro trader strategies. Just contact them, and they will be more than happy to tell you the exact number of computers you can do that with, okay? It's entirely up to you. I know I have done it more with over 2 computers, but it's up to you to decide. As we close here, I just want to say thank you so much. Remember, if you have any questions concerning pricing, discounting, if you want to upgrade, if you've already decided that you want to move up, if you've taken this offer and upgrade and you want to ask about a discount, or if you're asking the way JL is here about tech support, about different computers or for Windows, contact Pro Trader Strategies. There's absolutely no obligation. They would be happy to answer your questions. They're there to help you, and they're manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy, and there's no obligation. So give them a call at the phone number 310-598-6677. One last thing I didn't mention also with this offer, even though it's only $7, once you become a member of our trials or of our courses, you still get my personal email. So you can contact me with any questions concerning trading anytime you like. So you'll have over 4 decades of experience being able to mentor you with any questions. So for $7, you're getting also me as your mentor to answer questions via email. So this is a great, great offer. Please take advantage of it while you still can before it goes back up to the $100 price, okay? As we conclude here, remember to paper trade that strategy, and if you really want to make it simple, come on board with the $7 offer, and we'll be happy to accommodate you, okay? As we close here, when you take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday. I wish you the best of luck and look forward to all of you becoming students of mine at Specialist Trading and the Pro Trader Strategies PTS Primo Charting platform. Thank you so much. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye.